Hello, I'm Kerry Bloedorn. Welcome back for part 3 of our Hodag Heritage series. Today we'll be talking about the Hodag hoax. Come on.
It came out later that the Hodag that Gene put on display was not more than an imaginatively carved log, covered in ox hides taken from a local tannery and fixed up to appear as a ferocious beast. Gene purportedly had help from a friend, Luke Lakeshore Kearney, who would go on to write a book about the Hodag among other lumberjack tales, and claimed to have had a hand in the hoax to his dying days. With wires attached to articulating appendages, the Hodag could move and give off the appearance of a living animal, and so many were convinced of its realism. Word traveled quickly by newspaper headline across the nation in those days, and the next thing Gene knew, people were coming from far and wide to catch a glimpse of his Hodag. Articles were published in American cities from sea to shining sea, and the news was seen in New York State, where a Mr. Phineas T. Barnum caught wind of the foul-smelling creature and made his way to Rhinelander to offer Mr. Shepherd a large sum of money to take the beast back to display in one of his popular circus sideshows. So too, the prestigious Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C. dispatched a scientific team to take a survey of the newly discovered animal. Whether Mr. Barnum or the Smithsonian team actually made it to Rhinelander is up for debate, but to true believers of the lore it seems entirely plausible. And although there is little evidence to corroborate the stories, there is no evidence to refute it.
Over the years, Gene displayed his Hodag to Rhinelander visitors. Enticed on the short walk from the train station to his Pelham Street home, many spectators gladly paid the dime, and for the money spent, came away thinking it a real creature.
Other stories also sprang up, such as Gene retrieving several eggs from a Hodag den, out of which he was able to hatch 9 Hodag pups. He had intention to train them as his own circus act, but found them too mean and unruly for domestication. And so late at night, under the cover of darkness, he slipped them into a boat and across the Pelican River, where he released them back into the wilds from whence they came.
Another detail often referenced is told of the live capturing event, and involves a pet white bulldog that was brought along for protection from the beast. During the wrangling, the poor bulldog was gobbled up, whereby the Hodag acquired the taste for white bulldogs ever after. In captivity, Gene was said to have fed the Hodag white bulldogs its favorite meal, but only on Sundays, and so white bulldogs are closely associated with the Hodag legends.
Even after Gene purchased the stately residence known as the Pines on Prospect Street in Rhinelander, he continued telling the legend of his Hodag, and it influenced the rest of his life. The property that was the Pines now includes a park called Shepherd Park, and the home there known to locals as the Hodag House. The adjacent building was built by Shepherd, which he called the Den. It's been said that Gene's original Hodag was kept at a resort he previously owned on Ballard Lake, near Star Lake, Wisconsin, and it was unfortunately burned in a fire there in the early 1900s. A couple famous capture photos turned into postcards are some of the most recognizable Hodag images produced. One around 1900 was taken by famous Anago photographer A.J. Kingsbury, featuring prominent members of the Rhinelander community, including Gene Shepherd himself, and a recapturing done in 1952 featuring prominent locals of that era. The elder photo is very popular and routinely makes its way around the internet. Gene Shepherd passed away in 1923 and is buried at Forest Home Cemetery in Rhinelander. His gravesite is adorned with a Hodag figurine, and even though Gene is gone in body, his spirit lives on in the Rhinelander community today. Granted, these are just a few of the dozens, maybe hundreds, of tales told about the famous Hodag.